1. So let's go. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the YTM show. You the man with your host Oli, and every day I come here on the show, try to share value with you, try to share inspiring stories from people I look up to, and quite often I come on the podcast and I'm alone. I literally share techniques, strategies on how you could improve your health and fitness and your mindset as well. And today, I have my first female guest on the show. That's my first female guest on the show. I met her 3 weeks ago in London at the Peak Summit, which was a fitness conference for business professionals. And I went there, obviously connected with her, went on the social media, saw the work she's been doing, and she's been truly amazing at working with a particular niche, which I believe is quite often misunderstood. And I brought her on the podcast today to share her expertise in this area. And I would like to welcome Vanessa Haydock to the show. Welcome, Vanessa.
Hello.
Right. So
all right.
We're going to get going, and I would love for you to share your backstory, if you don't mind, obviously opening up to the audience and telling us who you are, what do you do, what's your story?
Yeah. So my name is Vanessa Haydock. I'm a type 1 diabetic. I'm also a certified personal trainer, nutritional advisor, and behaviour change consultant. So, yeah, that's me. I'm from the northwest of England, currently living near Manchester. I've been a personal trainer for about a year and a half now.
Okay.
And I also do online coaching.
Okay.
So I go under the name The Diabetic Health Coach, because obviously I'm type 1 diabetic.
Okay.
So a lot of my clients tend to be either type 1, type 2 diabetic. Some of my clients don't have diabetes. So yeah, it's good because a lot of my clients can relate to me and I can relate to them, because diabetes is quite often very much misunderstood by a lot of people, and it can be really frustrating to live with. So it just helps that I have it as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's me.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. It's actually good I brought you in, because I'm doing this podcast for myself as well. I'm trying to learn. Especially every time I bring a guest on board, I'm trying to get something out of it for myself. So I really want to understand. You say that you're type 1 diabetes. When did you get diagnosed, and how did you deal with it up to this point? How did you manage it with your life and everything?
Yeah, so I've been type 1 diabetic for 23 years now. So I was 3 years old when I was diagnosed. So basically, it's a condition where the pancreas in the body doesn't work effectively. It doesn't produce insulin, so basically blood glucose levels aren't regulated, unlike someone who's not diabetic. So I have to inject insulin to bring blood sugar levels down and keep them at a consistent level. There's a lot more to it than that. It is very difficult to control, but having it so many years, I've kind of learned to deal with it. I've learned so much about it, and now I aim to try and help others as well.
Okay.
So basically, I was 3 when I was diagnosed. Went through childhood as a diabetic. My mum and dad used to do it quite a lot for me. I have to inject several times a day. I've got to check my blood glucose levels consistently throughout the day. Got to be mindful of obviously nutrition, physical activity. So it's basically the job that you have is that you're doing the job of an organ. So you're doing the job that your pancreas would.
Okay.
So yeah, it's not easy. Some people find it really, really difficult. Luckily, I'm in a position where I've grasped it by the horns really, and I'm doing okay controlling it. No one's got perfect control. It is really difficult, but I try. So,
okay,
yeah.
Okay. So from the age of 3, you got diagnosed. So
yeah,
how was your childhood impacted by the situation?
I mean, when you're that young, you kind of you get used to it.
Okay.
But it was difficult because, for example, like because my friends, they could eat what they want, they could, have chocolate and ice cream whenever they wanted, whereas I couldn't.
Okay.
So that was a bit annoying, but I got used to it. Obviously, having injections at such a young age wasn't the nicest thing, but again, you just get used to it. My mum and dad were really helpful. I think what I found the most difficult was when I got to my teens.
Okay.
I actually, I think a lot of people with diabetes would relate to this, but you kind of go off the rails a little bit because you hit your teenage years. You're not that bothered. You just think, I want to be like everyone else. And because of that, when I was 18, I got diagnosed with diabetic retinopathy, which is an eye disease at the back. It basically causes damage to the back of your eyes.
Okay.
And for me, that was kind of a wake-up call to really gain control of the condition.
Okay.
Basically, if I was to look after myself or control my blood sugar levels, then I'd likely become blind by the age of 30. So that was, a big enough shock for me to try and kick myself into gear. So I cleaned up my diet. I got into training in the gym. I started really focus on controlling it the best that I could, and managed to get they refer to it as HbA1c, so it's basically your average blood glucose level every 3 months. I managed to get my HbA1c down to a normal level, and that was all through diet, food choices, physical activity. And then that kind of got me into coaching because I wanted to help others who also had diabetes. Obviously not as a medical professional, I'm not a doctor or a nurse, but just providing that support to other diabetics. Absolutely. Who, might be struggling coming to terms with the condition, or they might be struggling, with daily living and life with diabetes, because it is hard. I mean, every day I have between 6 to 8 injections. Obviously training hard in the gym, I eat a lot. Okay. So that means I've got to inject more. Checking blood glucose levels consistently, that can be pretty tough. And not just that, with diabetes, you can be doing everything right, but sometimes there's just factors that are completely out of your control that can affect your blood glucose levels. So, for example, illness, hormones, the time of the day. So it's one of those conditions that you've really got to learn about and understand. Everyone's different, but I think peer support is also really, really important, and that's something that I've always found useful, is actually talking to other people with diabetes, which is why a lot of my clients, they enjoy the fact that I've also got it, so I can relate to it and I can understand, how hard it can be. Okay. So yeah.
So just for the ignorant people out there, people who don't know, share the light a little bit on the differences between the type 1 and the type 2 diabetes. Yeah. Because it's quite often referred to as diabetes, but it's the type 1 and the type 2, and there are quite a few differences as well.
Well, first of all, type 1 and type 2 diabetes are completely different. Well, I say completely different. Obviously, there are similarities in the complications and in terms of insulin production, but overall, type 1 diabetes, I'm not a medical professional, so this is what I know. Yeah. Type 1 diabetes is where your pancreas does not work, whether that's due to autoimmunity, whether that's due to something that's happened previously in terms of illness. The pancreas does not produce any insulin whatsoever. Yeah. So a type 1 diabetic has to administer their own insulin and regulate their own blood sugars. Okay. Type 2 diabetes now can be brought on by lifestyle choices, but can also be due to genetics. Some people who are completely healthy can get type 2 diabetes. So it's one of those that the media has kind of put this stamp on that everyone thinks it's related to being overweight when it's not always the case. Yeah. So type 2 diabetes is basically where, to put it in layman's terms, the pancreas isn't working properly. Yeah. So it's still producing insulin, but it's just not using the insulin as it's supposed to be used. Okay. whether that's insulin resistance or so it's basically where the pancreas is still working a little bit, but not as well as it could be.
Okay.
That's the simplest way I can put it.
Okay.
Type 2 diabetes, that's why a lot of the time it can be controlled by diet and lifestyle.
Yeah.
Obviously taking into account maybe, for example, a lower carb diet. Sometimes type 2 diabetics are also on medication.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm not a doctor, so I won't go into that. But yeah, and the problem is the media has completely put a bad stamp on what diabetes is and a big stereotype, because not only that, they never really differentiate between the types. So obviously there's type 1, there's type 2. There's even more types than type 1 and type 2.
Okay.
There's so many. But mainly in the media, they just call it diabetes. So that, when I say to people, I am diabetic, they're like, really? You don't look diabetic. And then I think, well, what does diabetic look like? And then they say, you always think overweight or really unhealthy.
Yeah.
And I say, no, that's not it. I mean, a few years ago, I actually did a fitness photo shoot just to prove to people I am diabetic, and to try and reverse the stereotype around diabetes. Because I think as well, for a lot of type 1 diabetics, it's quite a kick in the teeth when people have this kind of vision of what you should look like because you've got diabetes, and it's just not right. And it's no one's fault. It's just obviously the media.
The media, yes.
They just call it diabetes, and and that's what we have. We do have diabetes, but there's 2 different types. And again, people who do have type 2 diabetes, I know people who, there's nothing on them at all, yet they're type 2 diabetic, and sometimes it's due to genetic factors or, other factors. So it's one of those, really. I know, obviously, women, when they're pregnant, they're more, they've got more chance of developing gestational diabetes, again, which is out of their control. So I think in the media, there needs to be a lot more kind of input into the different types.
Yeah, people need to be educated in that as well.
Exactly.
Really knowing what the difference is, because they just call it diabetes.
Exactly.
And then just be like, okay, are you diabetic? Like,
I
saw your post yesterday about Theresa May being a diabetic, type 1, I believe, or 2, whichever it is. And I was like, whoa, I actually never clocked that until I started obviously preparing for this interview, when I was started reading academic research, because I don't go Google now to read like articles from a newspaper. It's just like usual crap anyway. I mean, what you said was kind of like the bridge to my next question, which was like the misconception about the condition and what the media is doing about it. And in terms of like mass media, if you're diabetes, you're going to be overweight, lazy, fat. I mean, that's the word they'll call it anyway. And then really having that misconception. But when I look at you, and I mean, you're in a great shape. I mean, you're training hard. I mean, you're always monitoring the condition. You're really staying on top of it. Bearing in mind that you've been living with the condition for 23 years.
Yeah.
Unless you say it, nobody's going to be like, oh shit, she's diabetic. Like, nobody's going to say that. So, that, I mean, really big props to you for managing it so well so far. Now,
sorry.
you did mention before, like, about challenging times when you were a teenager, especially, and then you really wanted to go, live the life like everybody else, and then you got the wake up call, and since then, as an adult now, because I'm sure you are an adult right now, and like, are you coming across other challenges with the condition?
I wouldn't say challenges. I think you adapt. Okay. I mean, diabetes to me, it's not. I don't see it as a burden. I just think it's just part of me.
Okay.
I don't really see challenges. I've never let it affect me in any way. I mean, like, I've just been on 2 holidays. I went to Ibiza and Barcelona. I've been to festivals. It's never stopped me doing anything. It's just something that I've got to bear in mind and just think about a little bit more. But in terms of challenges, I wouldn't really say anything. Obviously, in the gym, if you hit with a low blood sugar, then that's
I mean,
that can be a challenge.
It does happen to everybody. Like,
yeah, I mean, obviously, with being type 1 diabetic, you're more susceptible to hypoglycemia, which can be which is more common when training or expending energy. So sometimes I'll be ready to deadlift 110 kilo and then get hit with a low blood sugar. It's not really what you want.
Yeah, that's not what you want. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. So you just get up. I've learned how to treat my hypos in the gym. Learned how to control it so that they don't really occur in the first place. So yeah, you get used to it. I think a lot of people, they might look at me as well and think, oh, she's got perfect control. It's not fair. I really struggle. I've not got perfect control, and I don't think it's possible for any type 1 to be consistently in the right, having the right level in terms of blood glucose in the bloodstream. But I'm just human, and I think that's a lot. I think it's what a lot of people can relate to as well, because I'm not constantly posting pictures of good blood sugars. I'm also showing, I'm human. Yeah. I can have high blood sugars. I can have low blood sugars. Because I think for a lot of diabetics, it's very easy to feel like you've failed, if that makes sense. Yeah. So if I was hit with high blood sugars all day, it's so easy for me to turn around and think, I can't be bothered. I'm trying my best. But it's just all about keeping, a positive mindset and just continuing working hard at trying to improve blood glucose levels. There's always going to be good days and bad days. So I think in terms of challenges, there's also mental challenges, again, relating to keeping on track even when you hit with blood sugar readings that you don't necessarily want to see.
Yeah.
Because I think that's for a lot of diabetics, that is the hardest thing. Like
the mindset.
You either, exactly. You either read a high blood sugar reading and think, right, I'm just going to keep trying, or you read it and you just think, what's the point? And that's when you go off the rails.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I've seen the intensity of your training, you personally, and obviously I'm not talking about your client because I haven't seen that. What will you say is not the perfect approach, but the ideal approach when you're living with the condition diabetes, when you want to go to the gym and then try to stay fit, try to get active? What will you say is like the number one thing you need to keep in mind when you do that?
Do you mean when I train, what I've always got to think about?
What I mean by that is clearly you need to stay on top of like your sugar level and everything while you're training. If you get diagnosed with diabetes and then you decide that, okay, you know what, I need to try to get active again, get to the gym, get moving. What will be the approach? Because as personal trainers, we both know that people don't really know what they're doing in the gym. And that's why we exist. And if somebody is going on their own and it's the first time, how they should approach the whole situation of training in the gym?
I think it's really important to, because everyone's individual.
Yeah.
Everyone, has different. How can I put it? How everyone. Like some people could go into the gym, and for me, for example, about a year ago, when I used to do a lot of heavy lifting, my blood sugar level would actually rise, and when I used to do a lot of cardio, it would actually drop. But that's different now. Now, when I weight train, my blood sugar doesn't really move, but when I do cardio, it goes up a little bit. So everyone's different. People's bodies are changing all the time, and everyone adapts to exercise differently. So I think as a diabetic, it's finding what works for you, how different exercises affect your blood glucose levels by checking consistently, whether it's aerobic, exercise resistant training, heavy lifting, high volume. It's looking at how different exercises affect your blood sugar and then, adapting from there. It's hard to say really, because it all depends on... it all boils down to blood glucose levels. So if you're going in, it's always important to go into the gym with a good reading. You don't want to be too high, and obviously you don't want to be too low. So it's just making sure that you're well prepared as well.
Yeah.
Like I say, everyone reacts to different intensity of exercise differently.
Okay.
So it's just again learning how.
So it's really learning how to be prepared, knowing
Yeah,
that
exactly. It's learning how to treat a hypo in the gym, how to treat a high blood glucose level in the gym, making sure you feel those because with high blood glucose levels and low blood glucose levels, you do also get symptoms as well. So it's understanding when you feel low and when you feel high. I mean, I don't know if you've seen it on the back of my arm, but there's I've got a scent. I don't know if you can see the back of my arm.
It is, yeah.
That actually checks my blood glucose level consistently.
Okay.
So all I need to do is scan that sensor.
Okay.
And it provides me with a blood glucose level reading.
Okay.
And it's so much easier. So when I'm in the gym, I'm just constantly scanning that just to make sure that I'm on track.
Okay.
Just to try and proactively stop any low or high blood sugars occurring. So yeah, it's just being mindful really and just being on the ball with it. It's very easy to forget sometimes about your diabetes, but I think once you're in that position where you're really on it and it doesn't ever leave your mind. You know, I could be in the middle of a huge crowd at a festival and still be checking my blood sugar.
That's good.
You know, you just kind of learn to adapt.
You've done it so often that it became like a second nature.
Yeah, exactly. So like brushing your teeth.
It's really like what I take from that is keep checking, no matter what. Stay on top of it, and then you'll be fine. Another thing which is really important as well is nutrition.
Yeah.
I'm sure you will agree to that, and obviously like how you will approach the nutrition, living with diabetes. Like how would you approach that? Are you just going to start with suppressing things and be like, I'm not touching this, and I'm just what's the whole mechanism, I would say, or I don't know, plan?
I mean, well, as you know, as personal trainers, the only dietary advice a diabetic can actually take is from the dietitian.
Okay.
So I don't give. I never tell a diabetic this is what you should eat, this is what you shouldn't eat, because it's all down to the dietitian.
Yeah.
I can guide them in a way to eat healthier, and give them ideas on how to become more healthy. Yeah. But personally, not saying this would work for anyone else, because this is just me as a diabetic. I find that low carb when not training and high carb meals around training work quite well for me.
Yeah.
So in terms of like nutrition, I find in terms of keeping blood glucose levels at bay personally, what works for me is low carb.
Okay.
And if just eating well, bulking meals up with protein, veggies, good fats. I always find that including good fats into each meal helps to slow down any spikes in the blood glucose levels.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I eat a lot. I train hard. I've got to eat a lot.
Yeah, definitely. That makes sense.
Yeah, so I just make sure that, I eat little and often. By eating little and often, it kind of helps regulate my blood sugars. But for some, intermittent fasting might be. It just depends. Like any individual. Any individual diabetic, one thing will work for one and not for another.
Yeah.
So it's finding what works for you. Obviously, the main point, taking advice from the medical team and your dietitian. But yeah, I've just kind of done a lot of trial and error over the years just to find what works for me. For me, I also think consistency with eating. Don't get me wrong. At the weekend, I will allow myself a treat. I'll go and have a drink because you got to live. You can't let diabetes stop you.
Absolutely, yeah.
So again, it's also making sure that you're mindful of how alcohol and refeeds or treat meals affect blood glucose levels. But yeah, you still got to live as a diabetic.
Absolutely.
That's what I always say.
Absolutely. Now, with that as well, you did mention about the low carb, and right now there's this whole. It's not even now. It's been like for probably 3 or 4 years. The whole keto thing.
Yeah.
That it sounds like and it looks like it fits perfectly in a diabetes situation. Like, what's your take on that?
I've tried keto before. It's very difficult. Like I said that I tried it, but it's very difficult for a diabetic to get into that ketogenic state, because obviously if I'm hit with a low blood sugar, I've got to have carbs.
You've got to have your carbs. Okay. Yeah.
Straight away, it's very, very hard. I don't know many diabetics that have been in that ketogenic state. So I tried to do it, but no, it just wasn't for me, to be honest. I'm not. Again, it all boils down to calories in, calories out, really, when it comes to obviously fat loss. And body composition. But yeah, I just think as a diabetic, it's finding that balance where you're still reaching your goals, but you can still live and still enjoy food. I think personally, as a diabetic, over the years growing up, I kind of got this hatred for certain foods.
Yeah.
But it's just because I didn't know how to, like how much insulin to have for this kind of food or whatnot. So you kind of get that negative.
Yeah. That negative relationship with food, and you're just like, I'm not going near that.
To be honest, mine's a lot better now. It's just kind of learning that, you can, as a diabetic, you can still enjoy everything that everyone else enjoys, but just being mindful and making sure that you're having the correct amount of insulin and you're keeping a regular check on blood glucose levels.
Okay.
So keto's not for me. Again, calories in, calories out.
You know what? I thought I would ask because just before this interview again, I read a study on keto and diabetes, and they tried it, and it kind of worked for like 84% of the people they tried it with. I think they were all type 2 diabetes. So I wanted to ask you, and you said you tried it. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all different. There is no like universal truth when it comes to that. I mean, there are 7.8 billion people on the planet. We're all different genetically and the way we are built up and that. So I just wanted to ask that.
I mean, it's a funny one really with type 2 diabetes, because I mean, I was watching that. I don't know if you saw it. There was a program on ITV not long ago about type 2 diabetes, and they put them all on a 800 calorie shake diet.
Okay, no, I didn't see that. Wow.
And I just thought
the stuff you see on TV is just.
They're like, it works. And I thought, well, you're in a calorie deficit. Of course, you're going to lose weight.
Of course, you
800 calorie.
800 calories.
Calorie deficit.
Right.
So it's again, it's what works for each individual.
Okay. Right. Thank you for that. I think I'm out of questions. I think I've got 2 pages of notes here, which is pretty interesting. It's going to produce a very good blog post, I guess. One last question, and then we're going to wrap up.
Mm-hmm.
What are the 3 things for you personally, a person who is living with a type 1 diabetes? What are the 3 things you believe are important to stay on top of the whole situation? Even if it's not 3 things, maybe 2 things or 1 thing, like
food choices, so nutrition.
Yeah,
definitely. Obviously, the food choices that you make determine what your blood glucose levels are going to be.
Yeah.
If I wanted to go and eat 5 Krispy Kreme donuts, I can.
They're
but
good.
9 times out of 10, if I've not had the right amount of insulin, my blood sugar levels are going to shoot up.
Okay.
So nutrition, 1, definitely. Since I've been really, on the ball with my nutrition, it's helped dramatically. I mean, my HbA1c is in the range of someone who's not diabetic.
That's good.
And again, a lot of it's to do with nutrition, physical activity, 100%. I mean, walking, just getting my steps in, going for walks, walking the dog, that helps stabilise my blood glucose levels a lot. Getting into a routine as well. I find that what helps in my diabetes so much is being in that routine and knowing kind of, what I'm going to eat or how much I need to inject and so on. I always find that when I'm on holiday or it gets to the weekend when I'm out of that routine, that's usually when my blood sugar levels start to go up and down a little bit, because I'm not in that, it's not consistent. So for me personally, routine and consistency is really important. And I also think as a diabetic, what is really important is peer support.
Okay.
Actually speaking to people with diabetes,
Yeah.
opening up to them, talking about the frustrations that come alongside having diabetes. I mean, it was so good at the Peak Summit that I got to meet Phil Graham, who's one of my heroes in the industry, also type 1 diabetic. Just actually being able to speak to other people who understand, because even though it doesn't seem like a huge thing, because you wouldn't look at me and think I had an illness. It mentally and physically, it's so hard to live with, because you're living with a constant fear of getting complications.
Yes.
I mean, type 1 diabetes, it's your blood, so it affects absolutely anything. Like, you can go blind, you can lose limbs. It's poor circulation. You can get loss of sensation, kidney damage, heart damage. There's everything. It affects absolutely everything if it's not well controlled. So just actually opening up to people and talking to people. I mean, 80% of my clients are diabetic, and just having me there for them to open up to makes a huge difference. I mean, it's hard, obviously. I mean, if you do have a personal trainer or a coach who's coaching you, but not having that understanding can be difficult.
Yes.
For the client.
Yeah.
So that's another reason, I wanted to go down this route. Not only personal training my clients, but also coaching them through the diabetic journey. Let's say, getting used to the living with the condition, and it's just helping people, getting them through the kind of barriers that comes with diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, with type 1 diabetes, you can get diagnosed at any age. I've got clients that were diagnosed at 28.
Whoa. Okay.
With type 1 diabetes. That's just instantly your life changes. I've got people that were diagnosed at 18, 10. It differs. So, yeah.
That's good. So I jot down, obviously nutrition is important, physical activity, get yourself in a routine, and peer support, which is extremely important. And we're going to wrap it up, but before we do, I just want obviously to plug your website, www.diabetichealthcoach.co.uk. I'm going to put that in the description of this video, of this podcast. It's also going to be in the blog. I'm going to write about this. And if you want to get in touch with Vanessa, I mean, she's very active on social media. We can find her at Diabetic Health Coach 1. Is that 1?
Yeah.
Yeah, Diabetic Health Coach 1 on Instagram. I'm also going to put all the social media where you can reach out to her if you've got any questions regarding
Diabetic Health Coach _UK type 1.
Yeah. I'm going to put all that into the description of this video, podcast, whatever it is. And if you have any questions about anything when it comes to the condition, when it comes to nutrition, exercising, if you're seeking some sort of peer support and you want to obviously talk with somebody who's been working this in those shoes since he was 3 years old, literally 23 years, feel free to reach out to her. I'm sure she's going to be more than happy to spend a few minutes with you and then help you, give you a bit of guidance as well. And we're going to wrap up the show. Thank you, Vanessa, for coming up today and really spending some time with me, educating me as well, and everybody in the audience about this condition, which is very misinterpreted and really not really understood by many people. Thank you for your time. Again, if this is the first time you're coming across the show, please leave us a review on iTunes and leave us a review on Anchor as well. Subscribe, because there will be many more guests lined up in the coming days, not to say weeks. And until then, I will see you tomorrow, actually, because I actually do a show every day. So I'll see you tomorrow. Peace out. Bye-bye.